Hey guys, it's December and I'm here to tell you about my 5 favorite albums of the month. This month normally doesn't bring a lot of quality or a lot of variety, but this month there's some incredible gems that you should be checking out, and we're going to go through them chronological order of release, starting off with Of Mice and Men Echo, out December 3rd on Sharptone Records.
Distance between the here and now and the hereafter. The life in an instant, legacies like grains of sand in an infinite ocean, tossing and turning endlessly in perpetual motion until it's a time to surface from underneath.
This is the band's 7th album. They're a metalcore band, and this album has a very interesting idea and concept behind it. It's made up of 3 different EPs. They released them throughout the year. The last EP was actually part of the overall album release. They came out on the same day, but they merged them together in order to make a full-length record. I like the thought behind it. I like the concept. I wasn't sure if it was going to work because you're going to have 3 different releases with 3 different atmospheres, 3 different perspectives coming from different angles with different emotions behind them. How are you going to bring them together and allow the record to feel as one? I'm still not sure if I have the answer to that question, but they did it. This album sounds and feels phenomenal. Very continuous, very connected, very compact. A record that if you don't know that it's made up of 3 different parts, it all feels as one. So kudos to them for having the creativity to come up with this idea and then putting it together in such a phenomenal fashion with an incredible record at the end of it. Next we have Wolftooth with Blood and Iron, out December 3rd on Napalm Records. This is the band's 3rd album. They're a doom heavy metal band, and I love the sound on this album. It perhaps has a lot more classic heavy metal to it than doom, but there is still some darkness, there is still some doom elements as far as this record is concerned. This is definitely the band's best album. I really feel like they've been polishing all of the sound elements, all of the characteristics that make up this record in the previous albums, and this was perhaps the most honest result that you could expect from a band that's been growing, that's been morphing, that's been evolving with every single release. This album just feels very polished, very mature, very well crafted and put together, and it has that perfect symbiosis between classic heavy metal and doom. It's really hard to determine where one starts and the other one ends. Next you have Atlas with Ukko, out December 10th on Long Branch Records. This is the band's 2nd album. They're a metalcore band from Finland, and this is by far their best album to date. This album is really different from their debut record. Actually, if you listen to both albums, you're perhaps going to have a hard time figuring it out that they belong to the same band. That's how different they are. This record is not just metalcore. Actually, I don't feel like this record could be defined by a single genre because it has a lot of different influences. It has deathcore, metalcore, traditional folk Finnish elements into it, doom, a little bit more of that traditional melancholic Finnish sound to it, and then a very important emotional drive that impacts the lyrics, the songs, and the way the whole record came together. So this album is phenomenal. It's a record that keeps on giving. Perhaps the only downside of this album is that the guitars feel at times a little bit rough around the edges. I wish they were a little bit more polished, but when you have an album that's really driven by emotion, sometimes the sound kind of represents how rough that emotion is, and this album is definitely that way. Next you have Siamese with Home, out December 10th on Long Branch Records.
For another man, as you were born a daughter. Tell me how you do, tell me why you do it. And while I bled, you were lying to me from his bed. So go and love him instead, 'cause now we got nothing left but a truth and it's cold. Well, now I know I'm better off alone. You were never worthy of my love. Rather be lonely than with you. And when you lie, stop working, you will know. You deserve to end up on your own.
This is the band's 6th album. They're a metalcore rock band. I don't even know how to define this band, and this album makes things even harder because it really breaks from everything they've done before, and it showcases a new path for them, a path that perhaps is going to give them a heavier sound, a heavier presence. I love how well constructed this album is. Magnificent songwriting. The album is really well designed, really well crafted, an album that took them a very long time to put together, and it was put together almost in pieces. Considering that that was the way they approached it, the album sounds phenomenal, it sounds together, it sounds as one, and it has incredible vocals. The vocals really drive the experience. You may come in for the sound, but you're definitely staying for the vocals as far as Home is concerned. Last but not least, we have Feuerschwanz, Memento Mori, out December 31st on Napalm Records.
Sie war nicht arm und nicht reich, und ihre Augen zugleich. Sie hatte nichts, was nützlich ist im Totenreich. Und darum leben wir hier, darum leben wir jetzt. Memento Mori, bis der Tod die Messer fest. Ja, darum leben wir hier, darum leben wir jetzt. Memento Mori, denn du nimmst nichts mit ins Grab. Frisch auf deinen Zahn. Memento Mori.
This is the band's 10th album. They're a folk power metal band, and you heard me right. This album is coming out on December 31st. I can't think of a single band that would release an album on the last date of the year. But, well, here we are. These guys are not every other band. They're very unique and very different. And this record really showcases that as well. It's an album that's being released with a deluxe edition that's going to have every single song in instrumental format, and it's going to have a third disc with covers. But talking about the main record, this album is phenomenal. Perhaps their last, not as much fun in this record, at least the sound. It's the least fun album. Maybe that's the best way to put it. In terms of how it comes across with the sound, with the atmosphere, the lyrical content, this album is a lot more heavy. It's a lot more driven. It has a lot more power, and it has a lot more intensity in it. The pandemic and everything that brought this band to this point really had an impact on this record, on how it sounds, on how it feels, and how it comes across. I like this side of the band. I like this heavier side of the band with more power, with more drive, and not just fun, folky songs that make you want to bounce. There's still a little bit of that in there, but it's a much heavier side of the band that you're going to get with this record, a side that I really enjoyed, and I really hope to see more of it going forward. This is it. These are my favorite 5 albums for the month of December. Let me know what your picks are. Use the comment section below. I'm definitely going to be checking them out. Maybe I missed something great in the month of December, so hit me up. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll see you guys at the next video.